Welcome to your Get That Nugget for GCSE English Language. Today we'll be concentrating on giving you a framework to answer Language Paper 1, Question 4, the evaluation question. This session is to complement your lessons with your teachers and not to replace them in any way. I'm just going to begin by revisiting the aims of this question. If you remember from the previous video, we are supposed to be showing that we can evaluate the effects of whatever the writer has used on the reader. We need to show an understanding of writers' methods and be able to identify these. And then we should be able to respond to the focus of the statement. As I said in the previous video, it's really important that we show the skill of evaluating. This is not just another language analysis question. You are going to use your skills from language analysis and the structure analysis question. However, we're bringing those together to show an evaluative idea or opinion on the statement and the text. So just to revisit, so in the previous video, we did all our planning work where we were using the extract from the monkey's paw and we were looking at anything that showed how tension was built and how scared the man was. And we needed to see if we agreed or disagreed with that. And we went through, we read, we highlighted, and then we annotated so that we could use this, all our annotations, all our notes into a paragraph ready for our response. As I said in the previous video, you will obviously have a lot more than this. You would have found at least 4 things, if not 5 things throughout the whole text, and then you'd have a lot more to write in an answer. As a recap, it is a 20-mark answer, so you should be spending about 20 minutes on this question. And obviously this would not be enough, but for the purposes of our video, we just did one example. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you take your notes and your annotations and turn that into a response. And there's 3 ways that we do that. There's a 3-step process to do that. The 3 ways that we do that is we're going to need to think about how we structure our paragraph. The way we do that, the way we take our notes, is we do that in 3 things. The first thing we do in our first part of the paragraph is we make sure we've got our what. Now, our what is our idea or our evaluative comment. So anything that relates back to the statement, anything that you would like to say in order to answer the question. And we'll come on to that in a minute with an example paragraph. The second part of the paragraph is the how. Very similar to language and structure answers, the how is the method that the writer has used or the methods, and obviously your quote or your quotes. Okay, you can use more than one quotation in your answer, in your paragraph. And the more confident you get, the more that you will probably use, as long as you've got something to write about them with. And then finally, the why. The why, really, really important. This is where we talk about the effects of what's been used, but we also need to make sure that we link it back to our evaluative comment. That we're making sure that we are showing that we are evaluating. So our effects and then link back. So every paragraph should have these things in. If you're hitting all 3 of these things in your paragraph, you are answering the question. And the more practice you have, the more the practice of the skills you have, these will get better and better. But these are 3 steps, the what, how, why. This is the what, how, why question, okay? So if we take those 3 things and look at an example paragraph, it should be quite clear to you how they go into your writing or how it's shown in your writing. The first thing you do need to do though, is as soon as you start your answer, you need to, and this is a very good tip for every single question 4, is you need to have, in this case, this would be our first paragraph anyway, but you need to have this part. I agree, or I disagree, or I partially agree. Because immediately you're telling your examiner that you are evaluating, that you have read the question and you understand what the question's asking you to do, and you are making your statement straight away. So if this is really important, that never changes no matter what question 4's focus is. You need to start with, I agree, or I disagree, or I partially agree. Really important that you do that. That's a very good top tip that I would use in every single question 4. The rest of that statement, use the question to help you write it. So as you can see from this one, I agree with the student's statement as the extract builds tension for the reader as well as conveying how frightened the male character is. Those words are literally in the question. We've changed them slightly, but we've used the tension part and we've used how scared the man is. I've shown already to my examiner or my teacher, I know what I'm being asked to do and I'm going to answer this question really well. And I'm showing you that I'm going to do that. So any examiner or teacher is going to be very happy with that because you've read the question, you've understood the question, and you know the skill that you are being asked to do. Very simple tip, but something that works really well. So this, in this paragraph, is our what. Because I've already said what's going on. I've already said that tension is built and this is how the character is shown to be scared. So I've made my statement, I've said that. Then what I need to do is I have to show the method. So we're on to the how part now. The how part is everything to do with what the writer has used. So here, throughout the extract, the writer uses semantic field of fear. And then I've got my quotations here. That's my how. I've shown, I know what the writer's used, I've identified it, and I've used quotations. So I've shown my examiner, I've made an evaluative comment, this is how I know it, and then I just go on to explain the why, so my effects. This expresses how scared the man feels whilst also building tension for the reader, as we are also unaware of what will happen to him. This is my why. Okay, I've explained my how, and I've linked it back to all the statement I've been saying. So I've said that I agree with it, I've shown how, and I've shown why. I've then taken it a step further. So if you remember back to our language analysis question, we talked about actually analysing the words. And in this case, the more analysis you can do for this question, the better. So I've actually taken it a step further. I've then taken some words out of my quotation and then talked about them. So I've got a bit more how here. The adverb fearfully shows he is full of fear and his actions are affected by it. The description of the character of the verb trembling connotes he is so frightened he cannot control his body from showing it. So I've got some more how. Okay, further analysis of what I've said. I've explained what it shows. I've linked it back to my statement. And what I need to do now is I need to make sure that I finish my paragraph with some more evaluation. So I'm showing I really understand the question focus and I'm using the words from the question within my response. So I just end it with, the reader can fully understand the fear the man feels. And that's my final why. So I've linked it all back to my what statement, which is up here. As you can see, a nice, easy, simple statement. Nothing too complicated. I've made my idea. I've shown what my idea is. I have then said how that's shown. So the writer uses this. Here are my quotes. I've then explained my quotes. I've then taken my analysis a step further and shown a bit more how. And then I've ended my paragraph, which is really important, with my why. I've reiterated why I think that. Why I've gone back to my statement. That's quite a simple paragraph. It might look a little bit complicated, but it's not. If you break it down to the what, how, why, that's exactly how you should approach this question. And every paragraph should be the same. Ideally, you'd have a bit more evaluation in that, but we'll look at that as we work through the videos this year. But the what, how, why approach will make sure that you get those marks. Remember, it's all about the effects of the reader. What is this statement that links within the evaluation? How has the writer done that? So the writer's methods. And then why? What is that? Why are we having those effects? Why is that effective? Why does that make me agree? Or in another case, it might be, why does it make me disagree? Why does it make me partially agree? Your why is all about the evaluation. Okay, so you get your effects, but it's important to link it back to your evaluation and your judgment. You are judging the text. You are judging how successful the writer has been, and you need to make that clear within your what, how, why paragraph. So just to recap, the 3 things that you need to do to write a paragraph is you take your what, so your idea or your evaluative comment, how have they done that, methods and quotes, and why, the effects, and then link back to your evaluation. If you do the what, how, why, you need to do that about 4 times at least for this question. That should be able to give you the marks that you are looking for. If you remember in the previous video, I gave you a question to look at, to be able to do as a practice to give your teacher. So all your prep work should be done. All you need to do now is turn that into an answer with paragraphs. So if you can look at your what, how, why, and you turn your notes into what, how, and why. And if you give that to your teacher, they'd be really happy to mark it, and you can get some feedback on that. Welcome to your Get That Nugget for GCSE English Language. Today we'll be concentrating on giving you a framework to answer Language Paper 1, Question 4, the evaluation question. This session is to complement your lessons with your teachers and not to replace them in any way. I'm just going to begin by revisiting the aims of this question. If you remember from the previous video, we are supposed to be showing that we can evaluate the effects of whatever the writer has used on the reader. We need to show an understanding of writers' methods and be able to identify these. And then we should be able to respond to the focus of the statement. As I said in the previous video, it's really important that we show the skill of evaluating. This is not just another language analysis question. You are going to use your skills from language analysis and the structure analysis question. However, we're bringing those together to show an evaluative idea or opinion on the statement and the text. So just to revisit, so in the previous video, we did all our planning work where we were using the extract from the monkey's paw, and we were looking at anything that showed how tension was built and how scared the man was. And we needed to see if we agreed or disagreed with that. And we went through, we read, we highlighted, and then we annotated so that we could use this